Who the hell are you people? The woman in the pink bikini top froze mid-laugh, wine glass suspended between manicured fingers. Behind her, a man in board shorts blinked at me, like I'd just materialized from another dimension. Through my screen door, I could see more strangers. Teenagers raiding the fridge, a toddler banging my grandfather's piano, an elderly woman settling into the recliner that still smelled like pipe tobacco and old memories. And on the dock I'd helped rebuild at 15, splinters under my nails, grandfather's rough hands guiding mine, a kid was doing cannonballs into the lake, sending up spray that caught the late August sun like liquid diamonds. Bikini woman set down her wine carefully. We rented this place for the week? Through Karen? Karen. That name would haunt me for months. There's been a mistake, I said, my voice coming out strangled. This is my house. Board shorts guy pulled out his phone with the confidence of someone who had paperwork. Karen Whitfield, property manager. We paid $1,800. He turned the screen toward me. There it was. My grandfather's house. My house. Listed as Lakefront Haven Premium Waterfront Retreat. Managed by Karen Whitfield. Lakeshore Cove HOA. I grabbed the phone, scrolling through photos I'd never taken. Seeing improvements I'd never made. Sarah's fingers dug into my arm. Tom, how long has this been going on? I found the listing creation date, July 2022. Nearly 2 years. The kid cannonballed again, and I remembered my grandfather's voice from 20 years ago, standing on this same dock. This house will belong to you someday, Tom. And when it does, you protect it. You hear me? You protect what's yours. I'd failed, but I was about to make it right. My name is Thomas Bennett, 47 years old, construction company owner in Richmond, Virginia. Father to Jake, 11. Husband to Sarah, who's kept me sane through 15 years of marriage and 3 business near failures. And as of 6 hours ago, I was at war. The lake house had been my grandfather's. William Bennett died February 2019. Left me 3 acres of prime Virginia waterfront near Lake Anna. He'd bought it in '74 for almost nothing, built most of it himself over 10 years of weekends. It wasn't fancy. The wiring was questionable. The plumbing occasionally spoke in tongues. But it was OUers, or it was supposed to be. After the confused guests packed up apologetic, clutching refund confirmations, I spent that first night on the sagging porch, laptop on my knees, mosquitoes feasting, discovering the scope of the theft. Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. Premium Lake Getaways. All listing my house. All managed by Karen Whitfield, executive host. All with professional photos showing improvements I'd never authorized. Fresh navy paint on the shutters, wrought iron deck furniture, string lights wrapped around posts like something from a magazine spread. 47 5-star reviews going back almost 2 years. Hundreds of strangers cycling through while I paid taxes, insurance, utilities, thinking it sat empty and safe. Sarah found me at dawn, surrounded by printouts. We need a lawyer, she said. I need to understand what we're dealing with first. But I'd already made my first mistake, thinking documentation would be enough. Karen Whitfield wasn't playing by normal rules. She showed up at noon the next day. I heard heels on gravel before I saw her, mid-50 seconds, blonde bob, designer sunglasses, leather tote that probably cost more than my truck payment. She didn't look guilty. She looked annoyed. Mr. Bennett? Her voice was butter over steel. I wasn't expecting you this week. Our guests usually check in Fridays. Our guests? I stepped off the porch. This is my house. You've been illegally renting it for 2 years. Her smile didn't waver. I've been maintaining it. You abandoned it. The HOA had to preserve community value. I didn't abandon anything. Legal fees could hit $50,000 if she fights. Maybe more. I felt my chest tighten. My construction company operated on thin margins. We had maybe $30,000 in savings. Patricia saw my expression. Or we could try something faster. Send a cease and desist. threaten criminal charges, see if she folds. She won't fold. Then we make her very, very uncomfortable first. That afternoon, Patricia drafted a letter that was basically a legal hand grenade, cease and desist, criminal trespass, and fraud notice. It detailed everything: the unauthorized rentals, the forged signatures, the Nevada conviction, the threats of legal action. It demanded immediate cessation of all rental activity and return of all profits, $143,000 based on my calculations. And it promised, if compliance wasn't immediate, criminal charges and civil litigation would follow. We sent it by certified mail, and we sent copies to every member of the Lakeshore HOA board. Karen received it Friday at 3 p.m. She showed up at my house Friday at 3:47 p.m. This time, she wasn't smiling. "You son of a bitch!" Karen stormed up my driveway. Letter crumpled in her fist, fury radiating off her like heat. "You think you can threaten E? You think some letter from a small-town lawyer scares me?" I stood on the porch, arms crossed. It should. It's all true. It's lies. I have documentation. I have authorization. I have forged signatures? Yeah, I know. We have those too. Her face went rigid. "You're making a mistake. I have resources you can't imagine. Lawyers who'll bury you in motions. Connections in this county that'll make your life hell. Then use them, because I'm not backing down." She stepped closer right to the porch stairs, invading my space, her voice dropping to something cold and surgical. "You think this house matters to me? It's one of 127 properties I manage. I gross $2.3 million annually. You're a construction worker with a failing business and a mortgage you're barely keeping current. I checked. You want to fight? I'll destroy you financially before we even see a courtroom." My hands clenched. She'd researched me, found my weaknesses. "I'll also make sure everyone knows what kind of neighbor you are. Aggressive, unstable, making wild accusations. Your son goes to Lake County Middle School, right? 11 years old? Kids that age, they're sensitive to social pressure. Wouldn't want him to have problems because his dad can't control his temper." Everything went red. "You leave my son out of this, then leave my business alone." She turned, walking back to her Lexus. "You have until Monday to withdraw that letter, or things get much, much worse." As she drove off, Sarah appeared at the door. "She threatened Jake?" "Yeah. Tom, we need to protect him. Maybe send him to your sister's for a few weeks." "No." My voice came out harder than intended. "We don't run. We fight smarter." But that night, lying awake at 2 a.m., I felt genuine fear, not for myself, for my family. Karen wasn't just a con artist. She was willing to hurt people to protect her empire, and I'd just declared war on her. Saturday morning, Jake came running in from the yard. "Dad, there's someone at the dock!" I was outside in seconds. A man in khakis and a golf shirt, 50 seconds, clipboard, measuring tape, was examining my boathouse. "Can I help you?" He looked up, startled. "Oh, I'm with Lakeshore HOA Property Assessment. Just doing routine inspections. Get off my property." "Sir, I have authorization." "No, you don't." I pulled out my phone, started recording. "This is private property. You're trespassing. Leave now or I'm calling the sheriff." He left, fast, but the message was clear. Karen was escalating. She'd sent someone during daylight to inspect my property without permission, testing boundaries, seeing how far she could push. I called Patricia immediately. "She's trying to establish a pattern," Patricia said. "Make it look like the HOA has been managing your property with implied consent. Document everything. Photos, videos, timestamps. What if she sends more people? Then you get more evidence." "Tom, she's desperate. That's good for us. Desperate people make mistakes. But desperate people also do dangerous things." Sunday afternoon, Jake was fishing off the dock when I heard voices. Walked down to find two women, 40 seconds, expensive athleisure, talking to him. "Such a beautiful property. Do you live here full time?" "Sometimes," Jake said, not understanding the danger. "My dad owns it. My great-grandpa built it." One woman smiled. "Oh, we're renting next month. Through the HOA. Your dad must be so happy to share this place. He didn't rent it to anyone." I reached them. "Jake, go inside." "But Dad, now." He left. I turned to the women. "I don't know who told you this property is for rent, but it's not. You need to leave." They looked confused. "But Karen Whitfield confirmed our booking. We paid a deposit. Karen Whitfield doesn't own this property. I do. Whatever booking you made, get a refund. This house is not available." After they left, I found Jake in the kitchen. "Dad, why did those ladies think we're renting the house?" "Because someone's been lying to people." "The mean lady?" "Yeah, buddy. The mean lady." He was quiet for a moment. Then, "Dad, are we going to lose Grandpa's house?" That question hit harder than anything Karen had said. I knelt down, looking him in the eye. "No, we're not. I promise." "How do you know?" "Because 20 years ago, I'd stood on that dock with my grandfather watching sunset paint the water gold, and he'd said, 'This house will be yours someday, Tom. And when it is, you protect it.' You hear me? Family protects what matters." I'd promised him then. I was keeping that promise now. "Because that's what Bennetts do," I told Jake. "We protect what's ours." But that night, lying awake while Sarah slept beside me, I felt the weight crushing down. Karen had resources, lawyers, money, connections. I had a cease and desist letter and a promise to a dead man. What if it wasn't enough? Monday morning brought the first real blow. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Jerry Hutchins, project manager on the strip mall renovation, my biggest contract. "Tom, we need to talk." "The client's pulling out." My stomach dropped. "What? Why?" "They got a call. Anonymous. Said your company has financial irregularities. That you're facing legal problems. That you might not be able to complete the project." Karen: "Jerry, that's bullshit. We're fine. I believe you." But they don't. They're invoking the termination clause. We're out $120,000 in projected revenue. After I hung up, I sat there staring at my phone. She'd actually done it. Attacked my business, my livelihood, my family's income. Sarah found me 20 minutes later, still sitting there. "What happened?" I told her. "All of it." She sat down slowly. "Tom, we can't afford to lose that contract. We have mortgage payments, Jake's school. If we lose the house and the business, we're not losing anything." But my voice sounded hollow even to me. Tuesday brought the second blow. Mail arrived with a thick envelope, legal letterhead, notice of line, unpaid HOA assessments. According to the letter, I owed $14,000 in emergency property preservation fees, dating back 2 years' fees for the improvements Karen had made to my property without permission. If I didn't pay within 30 days, the HOA could foreclose. I called Patricia, voice shaking. "Can they do this? It's complete bullshit. But yes, they can file it. Actually enforcing it? That's different. But Tom, this is going to tie up your property. You won't be able to sell or refinance until we resolve this." How long? Months. Maybe a year. And it'll cost money to fight. After I hung up, I walked down to the dock and sat there for an hour, watching water lap against pilings my grandfather had driven 50 years ago. I was losing. Karen had better lawyers, more money, and no conscience. She was systematically destroying my business, threatening my property, and I had no way to stop her fast enough. Maybe she was right. Maybe I should have just let her keep running her scam. Taken the loss, moved on. Tom? I turned. Danny Walsh was walking down from the road. I heard what happened. The contract. He sat beside me. "Listen, I need to tell you something." "What?" "Karen called me yesterday. She wanted me to say I'd seen you trespassing at other properties. Build a case that you're unstable." My chest tightened. "What did you tell her?" "I told her to go to hell." He looked at me. "Then I made some calls. Other contractors she's used. Tom, there are 5 of us. All local guys. She's been using us for work on properties she doesn't own. We've been talking. We're all willing to testify." Something loosened in my chest. Danny, we're not letting her get away with this. Not anymore. After he left, I sat there watching the sun lower toward the tree line. Maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought. Maybe people were tired of being afraid. Maybe it was time to stop defending and start attacking. I pulled out my phone and called Marcus. Is your rental sting operation ready? Yeah, I booked the house this weekend. Why? Because we're going to catch her in the act. And this time, we're not waiting for the system to protect us. We're building a case so airtight, even her lawyers can't spin it. Tom, what are you planning? War. Real war. No more playing defense. Because Karen had made one critical mistake. She'd threatened my son, and she was about to learn what happens when you threaten a Bennett's family. Marcus's rental operation went exactly as planned. He booked through Premium Lake Getaways. Karen responded within an hour, warm and professional. Saturday at 2 p.m., he showed up. So did Cindy Parks, Karen's assistant, carrying a tablet and a clipboard, wearing a shirt embroidered with Lakeshore hospitality. Marcus had a button camera, his phone recording audio, and me, hidden in the woods 200 yards away, with a zoom lens and binoculars. Mike Stevens? Cindy greeted him warmly. Welcome to Lakefront Haven. Thanks, this place is beautiful. Is it yours? Oh no. This belongs to the HOA Trust program. The previous owner signed over management rights. Karen handles everything now. Really? So the HOA actually owns it? Essentially, yes. There's paperwork. It's all very official. She unlocked my front door with a key I'd never given anyone. Karen's invested tremendously. New furniture, professional cleaning, landscaping. Guests love it. And the previous owner is okay with this? Cindy waved dismissively. Oh, they're not involved anymore. Haven't been for years. The property was essentially abandoned. We stepped in to preserve value. Every word recorded in HD. After Cindy left, Marcus drove off. But he'd gotten everything we needed. That night, we compiled the evidence. Marcus's video, the forged signatures, the Nevada conviction, financial records showing Karen's debts, witness statements from 5 contractors, the HOA lien, everything. Patricia reviewed it Tuesday morning. Tom, this is prosecutable, multiple felonies. We could go to the state attorney tomorrow. What about the lien? The contract I lost? Civil matters, separate from criminal charges. But she smiled. If Karen's facing prison time, she'll have other priorities than fighting you over money. How long until this goes to trial? Fast? 6 months. She's not going to take a plea. 6 months. 6 months of hemorrhaging money, fighting legal battles, protecting my family. There has to be a faster way. Patricia looked at me carefully. There is, but it's risky. Tell me. We force her hand. Create a situation where she either backs off completely or commits a crime so obvious that law enforcement has to act immediately. How? We bait her. Make her think she's losing control. Make her desperate enough to do something stupid. It was risky, but I was out of options. Let's do it. The bait was simple. I started renting out the house myself. Listed it on Airbnb not to actually rent it, but to send Karen a message. You're not the only one who can play this game. Used the same photos she'd used, same description, but priced it at $150 per night, $100 less than hers. The listing went live Thursday at noon. Karen called Thursday at 12:47 p.m. What the hell do you think you're doing? Renting my property. You have a problem with that? You can't, that's my listing, those are my photos. Actually, it's my house, my property, my right. This is sabotage. I have bookings! Deposits! You're interfering with established business operations. Sue me. Oh, wait, you can't, because you never had authority in the first place. She hung up. Phase 2 started Friday. I installed new locks, changed every access code, posted new no trespassing signs with my name and number, and I installed 6 professional security cameras covering every approach to the house. Then I waited. Patricia's theory. Karen would try to maintain control, probably send people to inspect or maintain the property, possibly try to break in to reset the locks. All we needed was for her to commit one more crime. On camera, undeniable. Saturday was quiet. Sunday afternoon, I got motion alerts. 3 figures climbing my back fence, dark clothing, tools. I pulled up the camera feed. Karen Whitfield, Cindy Parks, and a man I didn't recognize, all carrying bolt cutters, wearing dark clothes, approaching my back door at 2:47 p.m., broad daylight. Arrogant enough to think they could get away with it. I grabbed my phone, started recording, and called 911. This is Thomas Bennett, 14 Lakeshore Drive. I have 3 people attempting to break into my property. On camera. One is the local HOA president. Sir, are you serious? Completely. They're at my back door right now, with bolt cutters. While the dispatcher sent units, I walked outside, flipped every floodlight I had. 3 faces frozen in shock. Afternoon, Karen. Looking for something? Her expression went from shock to fury to calculation in 3 seconds. We received reports of unauthorized. You received nothing. You're trespassing with intent to commit breaking and entering. And it's all on camera. 6 different angles. Sirens wailed in the distance. Karen's face went pale. This is a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. You're caught. Deputy Martinez pulled up 2 minutes later. Took one look at the scene, 3 people in dark clothes, bolt cutters, my cameras pointed at them, and shook his head. Karen Whitfield, what the hell were you thinking? They arrested her on the spot. Breaking and entering. Criminal trespass. Conspiracy. As Martinez read her rights, Karen looked at me with pure hatred. This isn't over. Yeah, I said. It really is. The trial was fast. 8 weeks from arrest to verdict. Prosecutors had video evidence showing her attempting to break into my property, witness testimony from 5 contractors, financial records proving she'd been running a rental empire on properties she didn't own, her Nevada conviction unsealed. Her lawyer tried everything, claims of misunderstanding, HOA authority, community service. None of it stuck. The jury took 3 hours, guilty on all 11 counts. Judge Morrison handed down the sentence with visible satisfaction. Miss Whitfield, you ran a sophisticated fraud scheme for years. You exploited legal gray areas, forged documents, and when caught, attempted to commit burglary rather than face consequences. I'm sentencing you to 18 months in prison, 5 years probation, full restitution of $143,000, and a permanent ban from any property management or HOA position in Virginia. Karen sat stone-faced as they led her away. Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded me. Mr. Bennett, how do you feel? I thought about my grandfather, about Jake fishing off the dock, about that promise I'd made 20 years ago. I just wanted my house back. Now I've got it. 3 weeks later, we threw a party. Real guests this time. Friends from Richmond, Sarah's teacher friends, Jake's entire grade, Danny Walsh and the other contractors who testified. Even Detective Morris showed up. We called it the Unbooking Barbecue. Someone hung a banner, no vacancy, forever. But the moment everyone remembers, Jake and I installed the custom sign at the front gate. When we stepped back, the crowd gathered to read it. Private property. Bennett family, EST 1974. Not for rent, not for HOA, especially not for Karen. People cheered. Someone played Hit the Road, Jack. As sunset painted the lake gold, I sat on the dock with Jake, watching families laugh and kids swim. Dad? Jake asked. Did we really win? Yeah, buddy, we did. Because you protected it? Like Great-Grandpa said? Exactly like that. I looked at the house, my grandfather's house, my house, Jake's future, and felt something settle in my chest. Some battles you can't avoid. Some promises you have to keep. Some things are worth fighting for, no matter the cost. And this house? This was one of them. The end. The week after Karen's first threat felt like standing in quicksand. Every move I made seemed to sink me deeper. Monday night, I couldn't sleep. Kept replaying her words about Jake. about my failing business, about how she'd checked on me. How much did she know? Had she talked to my clients? My bank? At 3 a.m., I was back on my laptop, but this time I wasn't just researching. I was building a war plan. First, document everything. I created a spreadsheet tracking every rental, every review, every dollar she'd stolen. The math made me sick. Based on $250 night, with roughly 60% occupancy over 2 years, she'd pulled in approximately $109,000 from my property alone. Add in cleaning fees, service charges, closer to $143,000. Money that should have been mine. Money that could have sent Jake to college. Second, map her network. I started digging through HOA meeting minutes, finding connections. Cindy Parks wasn't just her assistant, she was a licensed real estate agent who'd sold 3 properties in Lakeshore Cove in the past year. Properties that had been managed by Karen first. It was a system. Find vacant houses, rent them out, then pressure owners to sell either through exhaustion or legal threats. When they sold, Cindy got the listing. Everyone profited except the actual owners. Third, find her weakness. Every con artist has one. For Karen, I suspected it was her debt. $280,000 owed to Nevada creditors. Garnishment orders she dodged by moving states. She needed this income, which meant she'd fight dirty to keep it. Sarah found me at dawn again, surrounded by papers. Tom, you're going to make yourself sick. I can't stop. If I stop, she wins. I know. Sarah sat beside me. But if you burn out, she also wins. You need to pace yourself. How? She's attacking the business, threatening the house, going after, we're going to fight smart, not exhausted. She pulled the laptop away. Today, you're taking Jake fishing, spending time being his dad. Not a detective, or a lawyer, or a warrior, just his dad. She was right. But every minute I spent not fighting felt like surrender. That afternoon on the dock, Jake cast his line and asked, "Dad, why is that lady so mean?" Some people think rules don't apply to them. They get away with small things, then bigger things, until they believe they're untouchable. But she's not untouchable, right? No, buddy. Nobody is. Then why haven't the police arrested her already? Good question. One I didn't have a great answer for. Because sometimes proving someone did something wrong takes time. We have to be smarter than they are. More patient. Jake reeled in his line. Examined the empty hook. Great-grandpa used to say patience catches the biggest fish. I smiled. He did say that. Do you think he'd be proud of you? Fighting for his house? The question hit me harder than anything Karen had said. I hope so. I think he would. Jake cast again. Because you're not giving up, just like he never gave up on anything. We sat in comfortable silence, listening to water lap against pilings, and I remembered another afternoon on this dock 20 years ago. Summer 1999. I was 15, angry about something I couldn't even remember now. Grandfather had brought me to the lake to cool off. We'd sat exactly where Jake and I sat now, rods in hand, saying nothing for an hour. Finally, Grandfather spoke. Your father tells me you're thinking about quitting the football team. Coach is an asshole. He plays favorites. I'm better than half the starters. Probably true. So why quit? Because it's not fair. Grandfather reeled in his line, examined his bait. Fair. That's an interesting word. Let me tell you about fair, Tommy. He gestured at the house behind us. I built that house over 10 years. Every weekend, every vacation. Your grandmother thought I was crazy. Neighbors said it would never be worth the effort, but I kept building. You know why? Why? Because some things are worth fighting for even when everyone says you should quit. That house wasn't fair. It cost me weekends, money I could barely spare, years of my life. But it was mine. And when something's yours, when it matters, you don't quit just because it's hard. He looked at me. You quit that football team, you're teaching yourself a lesson. When things get unfair, you run. But life's unfair, Tommy. The question is whether you're someone who quits or someone who fights. I'd stayed on the team, made starting lineup by junior year, learned that lesson. Before we left that day, Grandfather put his hand on my shoulder. This house will be yours someday. Everything I've built. And when that day comes, I need you to promise me something. What? That you'll protect it. Not because it's valuable, hell. It's probably worth less than I spent building it, but because it's ours. Because Bennetts don't quit on what matters. Promise me. I promise, Grandpa. He'd smiled. Good, because I'm counting on you. Sitting there with Jake, remembering that promise, I felt something crystallize. I wasn't fighting for a house. I was fighting to keep a promise to a man who'd taught me what integrity meant. Karen could threaten my business, attack my finances, even threaten my son, but she couldn't make me break that promise, not without going through me first. That night, I called an emergency strategy session. Patricia Morgan on speakerphone. Marcus Chen, driving down from D.C. Sarah and I at the kitchen table. We need to force Karen's hand, I said. Make her commit a crime so obvious that even her lawyers can't spin it. Patricia's voice crackled over the speaker. Tom, that's risky. If she gets wind of it, she won't. Because we're going to make her think she's winning. I laid out the plan. List the house on Airbnb myself. Undercut her pricing. Force her to react. With cameras covering every approach, she'd either have to accept defeat or try to sabotage me, and either way, we'd have proof of her criminal intent. Marcus frowned. That's entrapment. No, it's documentation. I'm exercising my legal right to rent my property. If she commits crimes trying to stop me, that's on her. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. It could work, but Tom, you'd be painting a target on your back. She's already shown she's willing to play dirty. Then let her. The dirtier she plays, the more evidence we gather. We spent the next 3 hours planning every detail. The listing would go live Thursday. We'd install the new cameras Wednesday night. Patricia would draft responses to any legal threats Karen might send. And we'd wait for her to make a mistake. Because people like Karen, people who'd gotten away with crimes for years, they always made one eventually. Usually it was arrogance. Sometimes it was desperation. But it was always inevitable. Wednesday night, I installed 6 security cameras. Not the cheap ones from hardware stores. Professional-grade units with 4K resolution, night vision, motion detection, cloud backup, and alerts sent directly to my phone. 1 at the front gate, 2 covering the driveway, 1 at each side of the house, 1 focused on the back door and dock. If Karen or her people set foot on my property, I'd have proof. Danny Walsh stopped by while I was mounting the last camera. Heard you're going nuclear, he said. Just protecting what's mine. Tom, I got a call this morning from Karen. She's offering bonuses to contractors who will testify that you're unstable, that you've made threats. She's building a case to paint you as the bad guy. My jaw clenched. What'd you tell her? Same thing I told you I'd tell her. To go to hell. He paused. But Tom, she's reaching out to everyone, and not everyone has the spine to say no. Some guys need the work. They might. I understand. Can't blame them. Yeah, but I can. Danny handed me a piece of paper. I made a list. 5 contractors she's used regularly. Called them all. 3 are willing to testify about work she had them do on properties without owner permission. The other 2 are scared, but they won't lie for her. I looked at the list, feeling something close to hope. Danny, we're tired of being scared, Tom. She's been running this county like her personal kingdom for 3 years. Someone needs to take her down. Might as well be you. After he left, I sat on the porch testing the camera feeds. Every angle was covered. If Karen made a move, I'd catch it. The listing went live Thursday at noon. Same photos she'd used. Same amenities. But priced at $150 per night, $100 less than her listing. The description was deliberately provocative. Authentic Lake Anna experience, owner managed. Unlike corporate managed rentals, this property is personally overseen by the owner who grew up on this lake. Every detail maintained with care. Real hospitality. real value, real ownership. The dig was obvious, and Karen didn't miss it. She called 47 minutes later. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I put her on speaker so Sarah could hear. "Renting my property? Isn't that what you've been doing? Those are my photos. My description. My hard work building that listing's reputation. You can't just steal actually they're photos of my house, my property, my dock that my grandfather built." So yeah, I can. This is tortious interference. I have existing bookings, deposits. You're sabotaging established business operations. Sue me. Oh wait, you can't, because you never had legal authority to rent it in the first place. Silence. Then her voice dropped to something cold and precise. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life. Or I'm finally standing up to someone who thought she could steal from me forever. We'll see." She hung up. Sarah looked at me. "She's going to escalate. I know. That's what we want, Tom. What if she does something really dangerous? What if? Then we have cameras. We have Patricia ready to file charges. We have a plan." I grabbed her hands. "I'm not backing down, not now." She studied my face. "You're different since we got here." More like, I don't know, like the guy I met in college, before the business stress, before we got so buried in just surviving. This house reminds me who I'm supposed to be, who grandfather raised me to be. Someone who doesn't quit, someone who protects what matters. Friday was quiet, too quiet. Saturday morning, I got the first motion alert at 6:47 a.m., pulled up the camera feed, a truck in my driveway, 2 men unloading landscaping equipment. I was outside in 30 seconds. "Morning. Can I help you?" The older guy checked his clipboard. "We're here to do the seasonal cleanup. Property management sent us." Property management? I didn't hire anyone. Karen Whitfield, Lakeshore HOA. She said, "Let me stop you right there. I'm the owner. I didn't authorize any work. Karen Whitfield has no authority to send anyone to this property." The younger guy looked uncomfortable. "Sir, we got a work order, prepaid. If we don't do it, we don't get paid." "I understand, but you need to leave. Now. And you might want to ask Karen for proof she actually owns or manages the properties she's sending you to." After they left, I called Patricia. "She's testing the boundaries," Patricia said, "trying to establish a pattern of management, document it, file it with everything else. This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "Probably. She's not going to give up easily." That afternoon brought 3 more service providers. A pool company, I don't have a pool, a pest control service, and someone claiming to be from the county inspector's office, all sent by Karen. All documented on camera, all turned away. By Sunday, I'd logged 7 separate incidents. Karen was trying to overwhelm me, make it look like she had legitimate ongoing management of the property, but all she was doing was giving me more evidence. Sunday afternoon, Jake was fishing when I heard voices again, 2 women talking to him, asking questions. I was down there fast. "Such a beautiful place. We're renting next month." Through Karen. "Your dad must be so excited to share. He's not sharing anything." I stepped between them and Jake. "Jake, go inside." The women looked startled. One held up her phone. "We have a confirmed booking. Karen Whitfield sent us the address to scout the property before our stay. Karen Whitfield doesn't own this property. I do. Whatever booking you made, cancel it and get your money back. This house is not available for rent, but we paid a $500 deposit, then get a refund, because if you show up here in a month, you'll be trespassing." After they left, Jake asked the question that had been haunting me. "Dad, are we going to lose Grandpa's house?" I knelt down, looking him in the eye. "No, we're not going to lose it. That's a promise." "How do you know?" I thought about my grandfather's rough hands guiding mine on the dock, about his voice teaching me what it meant to fight for something that mattered. Because 20 years ago, right here on this dock, your great-grandfather made me promise to protect this house. And Bennetts keep their promises, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That night, lying in bed, Sarah whispered, What if she goes after Jake directly? Not just threats. What if then she crosses a line there's no coming back from? And I will destroy her completely. Tom, I mean it. Business, money, property, that's one thing. My son, that's different. We lay there in the dark, listening to the house creak, and I made a decision. If Karen wanted war, I'd give her war, but on my terms, with my weapons. And with the one advantage she'd never understood, I had nothing to lose but everything to fight for, and that made me more dangerous than she could imagine. Monday brought the hammer blow I'd been half expecting. A thick envelope from Jerry Hutchins. Inside, termination notice for the strip mall contract. $120,000 in projected revenue. Gone. The letter cited concerns about contractor stability and ongoing legal disputes, creating unacceptable project risk. I called Jerry immediately. Jerry, we've been working together for 8 years. You know this is bullshit. His voice was uncomfortable. Tom, I believe you, but the client doesn't. They got a call anonymous saying you were facing fraud charges, that your business was in legal trouble, that you might not be able to complete the project. Karen. What? The woman I'm fighting. She's trying to destroy my business to force me to back off. Long silence. Tom, I'm sorry, but my hands are tied. The client invoked the termination clause. It's legal. After I hung up, I sat there staring at my phone. $120,000. That was 3 months of payroll, equipment leases, Jake's school tuition. Sarah found me 20 minutes later. What happened? I told her, watched her face go pale. Tom, we can't afford that. We have the mortgage, equipment payments. If we lose that contract, I know. Maybe we should just let her keep the house. Walk away. Find somewhere else? No. The word came out harder than I'd intended. We're not walking away. But if we lose everything, then we lose everything fighting for what's ours. But we don't quit. She looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, then we need a different strategy. We can't just play defense. We need to attack. She was right. I'd been reacting, documenting, waiting for the system to save me, but Karen had shown me the system was too slow, too expensive, too easy to manipulate. If I wanted to win, I needed to fight the way she fought, ruthlessly, creatively, and without mercy. That night, I made a list of every weapon I had. Marcus's undercover rental sting happening this weekend. 5 contractor witnesses willing to testify. Cameras covering every angle of the property. Patricia's legal expertise. Danny Walsh's insider knowledge of Karen's network. My own construction expertise and understanding of property law. And one more thing Karen didn't know about. Desperation. She was fighting to protect an empire. I was fighting to keep a promise to a dead man and protect my son's future. Those were very different kinds of motivation. And I was about to show her exactly what that difference meant. Tuesday's mail brought the second blow, the HOA lien notice. $14,000 in emergency property preservation assessments for improvements Karen had made to my property without permission. If I didn't pay within 30 days, they could foreclose. I called Patricia immediately, hands shaking. Can they actually do this? File it? Yes. Enforce it? Much harder. But Tom, this will cloud your title. You won't be able to sell or refinance until we resolve it. And fighting it will take months and cost money. How much money? Legal fees? Probably $15,000 to $20,000. Money I didn't have. Not anymore. Not after losing the strip mall contract. After I hung up, I walked down to the dock and sat there watching sunset paint the water gold. The exact same gold my grandfather had loved. The gold he'd watched thousands of times from this same spot. I was losing. Karen had systematically attacked every weak point. My business, my property, my finances. She was dismantling my life piece by piece, and I had no way to stop her fast enough. Maybe she'd won. Maybe I'd fought as hard as I could, and it wasn't enough. Maybe Tom? Danny Walsh again, walking down from the road. I heard about the contract. I'm sorry. I didn't answer. Listen, I need to tell you something. Karen called me yesterday. Wanted me to testify that I'd seen you acting erratically, trespassing at other properties. Building a case that you're unstable. What did you say? I told her to go to hell. He sat beside me. Then I made some calls. There are 5 of us contractors she's used. We've been talking. Tom? We're all willing to testify about the work she had us do on properties without owner permission. That's good. But Danny, she's winning. She's destroying my business, my finances, even with testimony. She's also desperate. I talked to Cindy Parks, Karen's assistant. Cindy's scared. She knows this whole thing is falling apart. She'd flip on Karen if someone offered her immunity. I looked at him. You sure? She told me herself. Said she never wanted to be part of this, that Karen pressured her. If you can get prosecutors to offer a deal, then we'd have insider testimony, someone who knows everything. Danny nodded. She's the weak link, Tom. Karen knows it too. That's why she's escalating. She knows her people are getting scared. After he left, I called Patricia. We need to talk to the state attorney. Now, before Karen locks down her people. Tom, that's brilliant. If we can flip Cindy, we have everything. Can you set it up? I'll call tomorrow. Sitting there as stars emerged over the lake, I felt strategy crystallizing again. Karen thought she was dismantling me, but she was actually creating the conditions for her own destruction. Every attack she made left evidence. Every threat she issued made witnesses more willing to testify. Every escalation pushed her closer to doing something so obviously criminal that even her lawyers couldn't protect her. I just had to survive long enough to see it happen. And I was about to make damn sure I did.